I never planned on becoming a crime scene cleaner. I mean, it's not exactly a job they talk about in high school. But 5 years in, I've seen things that would make most people's skin crawl. My first job was supposed to be simple, a suicide in a fancy hotel room. As we entered, the sharp smell of blood hit me at first, but the room looked pretty normal at first glance. But as we started cleaning things got really weird. It began with the symbols. Strange designs were drawn on the wall in what looked like blood mixed with ash. At first, I thought it, it was just a crazy drawing of some troubled minded guy, but then we found the candles, black, half melted, set up in a perfect circle around where the body had been. As we moved the furniture, more strange items turned up. A small animal skeleton, carefully put together on a silver tray. A book covered in what looked scarily like human skin. Jars filled with things I couldn't, and to be really honest with you, didn't even want to identify. The police had already been through, of course, but they missed the hidden space in the closet. We found it, and to be honest, till this day, I wish I hadn't found it, but inside were basically a bunch of photo albums, which were filled with ritual scenes, people in robes, things that still give me bad dreams. We had to call the police back. They took everything away from us and told us to just forget everything we'd seen. But how do you forget something like that? I mean, this job just really has changed me. It opened my eyes to a darker side of the world I never really knew existed. I started seeing patterns in other scenes we cleared, symbols that matched, objects that seemed out of place. It was like stumbling into a hidden world, one that just existed under the surface of everyday life. But not all jobs were about finding dark secrets, obviously. Some were, I think the best word is sad. Just sad. Like the house we cleaned out a year later. From the outside, it looked like any other normal suburban home. But inside, it was a maze of narrow paths through mountains of collected junk and trash. The smell was overwhelming, a mix of mold, rotting food, and something worse. We had to wear masks just to breathe in that. It took us days to find a dead body buried under a fallen pile of newspaper and old magazines in what used to be the living room. As we cleaned, we uncovered layers of this person's life. Photo albums from happier times, Christmas decorations that hadn't seen daylight in decades, a wedding ring, rusty and forgotten, at the bottom of some cheap jewelry box. It wasn't just trash we were cleaning out, it was a life of a person packed into piles of forgotten memories and unfulfilled dreams. By the times we finished 2 weeks later, I felt like I knew this person better than their own family did, probably. But the job that really stuck with me happened about, if I remember, 6 months ago. It was a typical suburban home, perfect looking from the outside. Inside, there was a completely different story. A family murder, suicide, whatever you call it. Father had lost his job and, well, you can guess the rest. The living room was bad enough, but the kids' rooms, those were the worst. Colorful walls splattered with. You try not to think about it, but you can't help it. Stuffed animals, once loved, now silent witnesses. Half finished homework on a desk, never to be completed. We work step by step in situations like these. I mean, you have to, or you'd go crazy thinking about what happened. But now and then something breaks, though, at least for me. It was a family photo I found while cleaning the remains. They looked so happy, so normal. It always made me wonder, how thin is the line between an ordinary family and a tragedy like this? As we were finishing up, I found something that shook me even more. A notebook hidden under the dad's mattress. It was full of desperate writings, job applications, money calculations, increasingly worried notes about bills and debts and loan sharks. The last page just had 5 words, which I just never forget. It just said, "I'm sorry, I love you." I mean, these words have haunted me for weeks. Still do. It's a reminder that behind every scene we clean, there's a story. Sometimes it's a story of darkness and hidden evil, sometimes a story of a life slowly falling apart. And sometimes it's a story of hidden desperation and a misguided attempt to protect the ones you love. This job changes you. You start seeing the world differently. Every closed door could be hiding a secret. Every normal looking family could be close to breaking. You become very aware of how fragile life is, of how quickly things can go wrong. But it also gives you a unique view. You see the worst of humanity, for sure, but you also see strength. You see families coming together after tragedies. You see communities supporting those who lost everything. And in our own way, we help. I mean, we're the last step between tragedy and normal life. We come in after the worst has happened and help make spaces livable again, I guess. It's not glamorous, but it's needed, that's for sure. So yeah, that's what it's like being a crime scene cleaner. It's definitely not a job for everyone. The hours are long, the work is hard on your body, especially the mind. The pay isn't great, but there's a sense of purpose to it. We help people move on in our own way. And at the end of the day, I guess that's what keeps me going now.